Hi there, it's Mr. Ryan, and we are going to do a story today called So You Want to Be a Rock Star. Now, this one is a lot more fun if you act silly with me like I'm telling you to do. So, let's get into it. This is by Audrey Vernick, So You Want to Be a Rock Star. So You Want to Be a Rock Star. You want to be a rock star? Let's see if you have what it takes. Do you have an awesome sound system with cordless microphones? Oh. Well, can you make your hand into a fist and sing into that? Let's try it. Terrific. Do you have a really cool electric guitar? Well, that's okay. Can you hold up your left hand out to the side and strum your stomach with your right hand? Let's give it a try. Gotta put the book down for this. You rock. Now, this is very important. While you're strumming your stomach, can you also close your eyes and make the kind of face you make when your stomach really hurts? Let's try it. Now try moving your head slowly from side to side. Check it out. You're really good at this. Oh, wait. Were you a great singer? When you open your mouth and try to sing, does a song come out? Your voice doesn't need to be perfect, just really loud. Do you know what a sneer is? It's like a real tough guy smile. Can you sneer at me? Practice in the mirror. Well, you might be the next big thing. Now we're getting to advanced techniques. Can you act like a rock star in one spot, then run across the stage and act like a rock star over there? Maybe even stand next to another person who's acting like a rock star too. Get someone to try it with you. How hot are you? One thing rock stars like to do is to yell at the audience. Shout the name of your town, then say, "Are you ready to rock?" Well, I'm in Owensboro right now. Stood on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Owensboro, are you ready to rock? Imagine the crowd roaring right back at you. It's fun, right? Rock stars also need to stand out from the crowd. Do you have any awesome, crazy clothes? Or can you borrow some? Do you have some crazy hair? Or can you borrow some? Now you need to make some decisions about your concerts and music videos. Are you the kind of rock star who has dancers on stage? Well, if you are, hire some. Or teach everyone in your family how to dance. Start now. Do you have a website and a huge fan club? How about a limousine? No, that's okay. Well, do you have a driver? Wow, who's cooler than you? You may end up with your own TV show. You should probably start thinking about your theme song. One snappy idea is to sing your first and last name 4 times, starting quietly and getting louder each time. Let's give it a try. My name's Mr. Ryan. Mr. Ryan. Mr. Ryan. Mr. Ryan. Mr. Ryan. You see? Now make sure your theme song rocks, because if there's a You movie, you'll be hearing it a lot. And if amusement parks add You rides, well, looks like a lot of fun. Of course, whenever you leave your home, you'll be mobbed by fans. Come with a fast way to sign your name, because all those fans will want your autograph. Try it. You'll sign your names? What? Oh, well, I'm sure you'll master cursive soon. And then you'll be the biggest rock star ever. Until then, just a fancy squiggle might be just the thing. The end. So, stick around. I'll be right back. I'm going to show you some musical instruments that Mrs. Ryan and I have collected over the years. And you'll see some really cool, well, I hope you'll think it's cool stuff. I'll be right back. So, this is one of my electric guitars. It's red and white, and it actually doesn't make a lot of sound at all unless it's plugged up to an amplifier speaker. But it's something that you see a lot of rock stars play. But did you know there's a lot of different kinds of guitars? I'll show you a few different ones, and we'll talk about how they're different. So here's my electric guitar. And this is also an electric guitar. This is an electric bass guitar, and this is actually the first guitar I learned how to play. You might tell that this one has only 4 strings, whereas the red guitar I just had 6 strings. The bass guitar actually plays the bass part of the song. It has a lower sound than the other one. But this is also an electric guitar, so it doesn't really sound very loud unless it's plugged up to a speaker. I'm going to show you a guitar that sounds a little bit different next. And this guitar is an acoustic guitar. It is a lot like that electric guitar that I showed you, the red one, but it doesn't need to be plugged in to make it sound. You can hear just that is a lot louder, and that's because the sound comes out of that hole there. And you see this guitar a lot more often in like folk music or sometimes country music, or anytime there's a slow ballad kind of rock song, they'll tend to play these more often. This looks like a guitar, but it's not. It's called a mandolin, and it's a little bit smaller. It has a higher pitch than a regular guitar, and you often hear it in folk music or bluegrass music, which is very popular here in Owensboro. And this is also not a guitar. This is called a ukulele, and this is even smaller than the mandolin. It has only 4 strings. You hear it a lot in like native Hawaiian folk music, and a lot of students here in the Owensboro area are getting these at school and learning how to play them. This is an instrument that you sometimes see in orchestras, but it's also played in bluegrass or country music. This is a violin, sometimes called a fiddle, and it's got 4 strings like the ukulele, but it has a very different sound. It's usually played with a bow that goes across the strings. And in just a little bit, I'm going to show you a very different kind of instrument that's played with a different kind of bow. So stay tuned. And this is a flute. This is one of Mrs. Ryan's main instruments. It's very different than the ones we've looked at before because all the others were string instruments. But this is what's called a woodwind instrument. And you blow in down there, and you move these little keys down here to change the sound. You don't hear this a lot in rock bands, but there are some rock bands that play flutes, believe it or not. So you don't have to have a lot of fancy instruments to make music. You'll see here I've got a couple of really unusual things you wouldn't think normally making music out of. But I've got a musical washboard, and I've also got what is called a canjo, which is a one-string banjo made with a Mountain Dew can to make the sound on it. So you can make instruments out of just about anything. And I'm going to show you a really old one that I have around the house too, and I'll be right back. So the last one I'm going to show you is also a string instrument like the guitar or the violin, and it's called a hurdy-gurdy. It's kind of a silly name, isn't it? These are really old instruments. Not this particular one because Mrs. Ryan built this, but these have been around in France since the Middle Ages, like back when there were knights and kings and queens and castles. So nearly 1,000 years ago. And it's a lot like the violin, except this wheel right here, that wheel is the bow instead of bowing the strings, and you turn this crank here, and that's what makes that wheel spin. Then over on this side are keys that you press to make different sounds on the strings. Now, the interesting history about this is that they kept making them bigger and bigger until you had to have someone stand on the side here to turn the crank to spin it. A separate person. Then you had a separate person up here playing a bunch of different keys. And what that ended up making was the first organ. So you actually had a person there turning the crank and playing the keys. Well, I hope you enjoyed our story today. So you want to be a rock star, and I hope you had a good time looking at some of my musical instruments. Until I see you again, just keep reading, maybe learn how to play a musical instrument on your own, and have a great summer.